Don't blink, it's your boy Yink. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the 21st of July video. This is the first video of the day. It was supposed to be a nature corn. I don't know what happened. The phone overheated. You can see I just woke up. We had a couple of Monster, so we should be okay. Today I'm in a really good mood. I have a dozen ideas on what content to make. When I try to make content, I try to think about what I can do. Because the notes that I have, I'm keeping them for emergency. So when I said everything classic, I had an idea, right? And it's not really a classic because it has been so long. So when we do everything classic, we're talking about movies that have been there for a while, movies that affected us, that have a complete, I want to say lifespan. So I did movies like Fight Club, right? Fight Club is still popular. There's still a subculture for it, but there's not a lot of new watcher, right? I did one for. See, I just give me a sec. Wake up. Big chicken, on the best. See, if you look at a one like Dracula, like Pinocchio, like Frankenstein, they don't bring so much. However, I wanted to do one that is not so old, and it's The Walking Dead. Now, disclaimer alert: I am not gonna talk about Fear. I'm talking about City of the Dead. It's Walking Dead in itself. I'm gonna be talking a little bit about the comic, right? The masterpiece by Robert Kirkman, and we'll be talking a little bit about the show. First of all, what is The Walking Dead? The Walking Dead is the story of Rick Grimes, played by Andrew Lincoln, a very popular, I think it's Australian, but he might be English. The accent is similar, right? Who's a police officer gets shot. He falls into a coma, right? He wakes up 28 days later in a world full of zombies. The way, and it's nuts. It's nuts. Robert Kirkman is one of my favorite author. I think his art is beautiful, but I think when you talk about a classic, when you talk about a video, I try to do it more relatable to me because this is my video, right? So we're trying to get it to a place where you can say, okay, yeah, this is why I'm making this video. My whole childhood, and we're talking my whole childhood. We're talking, guys. I'm not even joking. We're talking about 9, 10 years old. I'm 31. When we were reading French version of the Dragon Ball manga. If it wasn't for Dragon Ball, maybe I would have read some comics. And because it was for Dragon Ball, I've been reading anime and manga from Bleach, from Naruto, from One Piece, from Death Note, sorry, from Soul Eater, from Akame no Kill, from there's so many of them. Candyman, oh, that was so good. But when it comes to comic, right? I was only reading a little bit. Now, I have to be honest. For comic, what I start doing, it was this famous period of, and I know this is still about Walking Dead, but this is a behind the scene, okay? There was this famous period where I wasn't working for a while, and I needed entertainment for not a lot of cash. And I've just finished reading. I remember finished reading Bleach and Naruto. And I was like, I want to take a little break from anime. So we went to an application, right? And that application came in the form of. It's beautiful. It is. This is gonna be a long video, so please sit down, just enjoy, relax. So it came down into the form of a comic. It was a Deadpool comic. It was a Venom comic, and I was always reading to. I was always looking to read. When I was working with Romanians were talking Romanian. I was always included in the conversation, but and I have to ask, hey, can you please translate that? I'm gonna be honest and say there's not a time where I asked for translating that. I didn't do it. They were actually really kind. They were actually really. They really made effort to put me part of the family. However, I don't want to be the kind of guy that has to ask every single time, hey, translate for me, hey, translate for me. Oh, tell them I say this, tell them I say that, right? It gets annoying. I think the fact that they were so eager to put me in was respect. Respected the fact that they were speaking another language. Respect the fact that when when I was curious, I asked and they answered. It wasn't always the time. See, I'm gonna close the. Should I close the? Yeah, it's pretty much done. I'm sad. I'm sad that we didn't get the sunrise. That's life, right? underneath my skin. 1%. Holy shit, it goes fast. So yeah, so with and it was Deadpool, and I did like reading those comics. My problem with comics, and this is gonna be, um, this was my opinion yesterday. This is gonna be my opinion today. My issue, I love comics. I love comics. My issue with comics as a whole is there's multiverse, right? Where okay, well, in this one, Joker is the good guy. In this one, Batman's the right guy. In this one, Angel, she's with not Angel, sorry, Harley Quinn, Harley Quinzel. She's with Joker. This one she's with Poison Ivy, and I don't mind because they create a larger array of possibility, a wider world, a wider universe with the multiverses of making more content. However, I found this gem, and the way I found this gem is extremely fucking simple. And I remember it like yesterday. This is gonna be a at least 30 to 40 minutes video, so please sit down, have some fun, relax. It'll be fun. So we have this Walking Dead. My first introduction to Walking Dead was actually the last year of high school. The show was starting. People in my class were talking about it, right? I didn't have a way to watch it, so I was like, fuck it. Then I got hired. I did as you guys know, I did a baking class, right? And in that baking class, the girl was like, "Oh, I'm gonna hire you." That girl had a son. That son knew a website to stream Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. So I started watching from season 1 to season 3 of Walking Dead, and I fell in love. Come back. It didn't work out with the. It didn't work out with the. What should I call it? Fuck. It's a sad story. I'm gonna tell that story another time. This is a sad story. Long story short, she hired me to help her with the bakery, but she hired me before she opened the bakery. So she was still in the ways of renovating the thing, and she was like, "Can you help me renovate?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I start realizing that it's been 2 to 3 months I've been there, and we haven't started working. So I was like, "Do you know we're going to be starting to work?" And she said, like, "Oh, in about 6 to 7 months." Now, it's not because she was a friend, but I kind of came here to work, and I don't mind helping with the look. I'm living at your house. You're feeding me. Like, you're not asking for anything in return. And she was like, "Oh well, there's gonna be 6 and 7 months." And her boyfriend, not her son, not her and her son, they were nice, but her boyfriend was always saying, "You should find another job to find an apartment." So wait, I'm here. I'm gonna find a job as a minimum salary, right? Just so I can stay here for in the hope in the 6 and 7 months when they open to give me a better salary. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So I watched Walking Dead, and then I gave it up. And then I found a website where I could download comics, and I found the holy fucking grail. I found Omnibus, which is volume of The Walking Dead from 1 to 13. Back then they were done till the Whisper War. So I finished the Negan War. And then they were coming too slowly for me to keep up, because I'm a guy that likes to read. So I would read the volume. I would read the volume a week after it was done. When the volume itself is it's a 2 months. It's 3 months, right? And see, it was too slow for me. But those years, I remember reading The Walking Dead, and it was this insanity. I often say how Chucky introduced me to the world of horror, and that is true. Well, that's technically true. See, Chucky, Child Play, introduced me to the world of horror movie as a comedy. The Walking Dead was something that introduced me to the world of horror by being horror. See, I was always afraid of shit. I was always afraid of shit. Um, the reason why Walking Dead taught me. Walking Dead, when you see the show, when you realize the show, it is always gonna be more about three things. It's always gonna be about the human, the bond you form, the enemy you have. It's always gonna be about moral, the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, right? And the third thing isn't the zombie, it's how do we survive in this world? See, it's a beautiful thing. This is gonna be it's chock full of spoiler. when they are when Rick and his friend, because he makes some friend along the way, they start this pandemic. They start this apocalypse, right? They're constantly moving, and then they find this place called Alexandria, and this is their home, right? And then after the Negan War, which is the Whisper War. I would say after Negan War, Negan is possibly at halfway. Then there's the Whisper War, and there's the War for Commonwealth. The War for Commonwealth, I haven't read it. I haven't read it. But you see, the fact that they found, right, um, the fact that they found, what should we call it, the Alexandria makes them say, okay, well, we can build on that. And after when Whisper War start, they have a blacksmith. They make fresh bread. They're living like normal, right? And they're working. They are building road. They're having a sentry on the road, protecting the road, right? It's a common society. And my best thing is they're working with the hilltop, and they're working with. Oh, it's been so long. They're working with a savior. They're working with the hilltop. So it's basically a reformed group of savior. See, I haven't read. I've read a little bit, a little bit, through the Whisper War, right? And I finished watching the Negan stuff. So after that, I don't know what happened. But then again, it's only the Whisper War, and it's only Commonwealth. I have every single DVD from 1 to 10. I should have taken them out. Oh shit! Wait a sec. And I just realized that I wasn't recording. I'm sorry. I want to show you the collection that I have, right? And I wasn't recording, but I came back. So if you look at it, Walking Dead, baby, in the apartment. Yeah, we have from season 1 to 10, and I think there's 11 season. There's 11 and 12 season. I don't know. Don't like heights. Most small people are afraid of heights. Facts unknown. So now we can finally get into why Walking Dead was so important. Again, The Walking Dead is this masterpiece. Robert Kirkman is a genius. You take this dude, right, Rick Grimes. I'm gonna go in because it's a bit too sunny for me. Because it's a bit too sunny, it's hard to see the screen. And I like seeing myself when I talk, because I don't feel like talking alone, right? Yeah, this is perfect. Okay. See, unfocused. You see, we started this video by waking up, and now we're waking up. See, Robert Kirkman is a genius. Why? Because he took Rick Grimes as this phenomenal character, as this character that was representing a police officer. The Rick Grimes is so many of us. Rick Grimes is a person that believes in right and wrong. It's symbolized as a police officer, sure. Rick Grimes is also a father. How far would I go to save my family? How many people would I kill to save my family? But it's the way he does it. The way he does it is phenomenal. The way he does it is Rick Grimes comes out of a coma. So the whole thing can be a dream. We don't know. The first person that Rick Grimes meets is Morgan. Morgan and his son Dwayne. And the best thing about this is Morgan and his son Dwayne are the first clue. I believe that it's a dream. I truly believe it's a dream. I truly believe that's a dream. Right? The only thing that makes it is that Rick Grimes was a sheriff of a small town where he knew everybody. And somehow he never met Morgan. Right? Morgan was also a father. Morgan was also a father to a son. The son was Carl's age. The most beautiful thing, one of the most impactful season to me is the season 1. Especially the first couple of episodes. The season 1 isn't great, but the first couple of episodes, why? It's because we have Rick Grimes who realize that the world is not the same. We have Rick Grimes who realize that there's an apocalypse. This is why The Walking Dead was so powerful. I feel like The Walking Dead, why it's so powerful is we're not in the beginning of the pandemic, right? I'm kind of like pandemic, but it's an apocalypse. I don't give a fuck. And then you're years in, and you're like, holy shit! You think one of the most popular game in gaming history is Last of Us, which is also a survivor horror game. In Survivor, what do you see? And Last of Us, what do you see? you're seeing people, you're seeing one another the first day, the first week, and then you see 10 years later. I need to clean the table. It is quite disgusting. And like with ADHD, guys. Hey, there's day where you can focus, you can work, and there's day you can't. We do the best we can with what we have, and that's it. So, The Walking Dead, even if it's not real, even if it's fake, you realize that it never actually mattered. It was never an issue of if it's real or if it's not real. It's still a good story. Why The Walking Dead is so good? I feel like the introduction is working for a lot. The fact that we have, the fact that we lose Lori kind of early on. At first, Rick has his wife and son. Pretty quickly, it's becoming just him and his son. So it's a father and his son. And I don't think Lori didn't bring what she. Lori did bring things. Lori, I feel like in the comic, she doesn't bring a lot. I'll be honest. I'm sorry. You like Lori? You like Lori? I don't care. In the show, she did bring a lot, but in the comics, no. In the comics, no. See, one of the first things you see is Shane, and Shane is one of the best characters ever made. To me, Shane is more popular. I want to say Shane is more popular than Rick Graham. My thing with Rick Graham, because Rick Graham is in multiple of this season. He's in most of the season, right? And he left the show, by the way. If he didn't leave the show, he would be in every season, because people like Rick Grimes. And Shane was only in season 1, 2, and 3, right? And in the in the comic case, way before he died. But just Josh Berthold or John Berthold, I always make mistake. It was such a good character that he was able to say, "Hey, I'm gonna push it." And John Berthold was one of the only cast member that actually read Walking Dead. Love John Berthold. Loved what he stands for. Love him as a person. See, one of the first things he sees is his friend Shane. And why is Shane so different? So, my apologies. I'm gonna constantly go back in between the movie and the anime. This is a long video. We're gonna do part 2. I'm gonna go in 25 minutes. Part 2. See, Shane is this character that is a beautiful thing. Shane is a character that Rick trusts. Rick sees as a brother. Rick understand who he is, and that's why Shane bringing ID of a survival world. Well, you cannot be always nice. It's nice. See, there's a picture of Rick at the very end. Rick at the very end is very different than Rick from the beginning. Rick at the very end is more like Shane than Rick. There's a picture where Rick is gonna die. There's a scene where Rick is gonna die, right? And the one he sees in the car is Shane. And that's years after. So the fact that this year after, it's so fucking important. One of the first person he meets, again, is Dwayne and Morgan. And they're telling him, and it's a really cool way to tell him, hey, this is what's going on. Why is Morgan and Dwayne the perfect way to tell Rick Graham how it is? Because Morgan and Dwayne aren't scientists. They're a father and son. So they possibly have an idea of what's going on, but they don't have the scientist ID. And since they explain to Rick how's it happening, then Rick doesn't need more. We see it in the CDC, which is the military thing. In the comic, this isn't something, so I don't talk about it a lot. But we basically learn that the virus is airborne, and even then, we don't learn what caused it. We don't see what happened. We don't see a cure. There's next to no cure. And to me, what is phenomenal is there's not only no cure. At the end, the people are using the zombie to make life better. They're using them as slaves. They're using them as a entertainment. They're using them to make certain functions. So, for example, there's going to be a certain mill, and that mill you need to push it, and that mill goes like this. And because it goes like this, it tears down a lot of things. So what they're going to do is they're going to take out the teeth. right? They're gonna take out the teeth and they're gonna push it. And there's even a character called Michonne. Michonne, when she comes in with two zombies, and those two zombies are protecting her from other zombie because she smells like a zombie. So when you understand that, you realize that there's a lot of another beautiful thing about Walking Dead is a lot of people have different kind of moral. See, when Michonne, she comes in with two zombies, she looks at this crazy person. She isn't. Michonne is possibly one of my favorite characters in The Walking Dead. Probably one of my favorite characters because she seems as crazy, and there's a moment in the prison where they meet where Rick is seen as crazy. He's seen as unfit to rule, which is phenomenal. We have Shane as one of the best characters because Shane understands that he doesn't have. There's nothing he can do. Shane is always portrayed as this crazy character, but there's a beautiful, really beautiful moment where he takes care of Carol. Carol, she's one of the characters. She loses her daughter, right? And she's like, hey, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And that's the first time in a while that we see Shane as sweet as him with his guard down. And you realize that it's hard for him too. There's still this sweetness in him. He wants to hack tough, but he isn't. Why is I keep on coming back to first season because to me this is perfection. One of the first episode, actually, he meets Dwayne, he meets Morgan, and they tell him, hey, in Atlanta, that's where most people went. So first mission of Rick isn't even, and I love that. It's not even to find out what's going on. It's to find out his wife and kid. So he goes in and it's like, okay, well, what's my wife and kid? And Morgan tells him, there might be in Atlanta. There's a lot of people in Atlanta. So he goes in Atlanta and realizes that the whole city is overrun. He ends up under a tank. And we got the classic and the very, very popular. See, I call Walking Dead a classic because there's nothing like it. But if you look at the first season, that was 13 years ago. That's insane. And there's this character called Glenn. Glenn is universally loved because Glenn is a guy that is very positive. He's a guy that's very optimistic. See, he understands there's an apocalypse going on, but he understands that he's gonna be okay. Things are gonna be okay. Things aren't gonna be the way they were before, but they don't need to be the way they were before. And the problem with Rick is he's always trying to make things the way they were before. That's his biggest problem. So with Glenn, and he says, "Are you done making a fool out of yourself, asshole?" Because he shoots some zombie, which attract more zombie, and it's kind of cool because we're 28 days in the apocalypse, and the 28 days is phenomenal because there's a movie that I grew up watching. It was also about zombie, and it was 28 days later. So there's this end of that. See, so Glenny brings him to the camp, and then in the camp we're finding Shane, Rick. We're finding Shane, Lori, and Carl. How did I miss Carl? And it's nice because it is a semblance of Rick, and you care about Rick enough to genuinely think, hey, I'm happy this happened to him. Hey, I'm happy that he found his family. There's this one of the characters, and I keep coming back to gaming videos because I'm a gamer. There's this one character we love, which is Arthur Morgan. Everybody that plays Red Dead Redemption likes Arthur Morgan. Everybody that plays the two things their favorite character is Arthur Morgan. But everybody that watches Walking Dead loves Rick Graham. See, it's such a beautiful thing, and I keep coming back to Shane because Shane is one of the most important characters. People call me. This, by the way, is version 1, so I'm going to watch the show once again, and I'm going to do a version 2. People keep coming to Rick, and when shit hits the fan, they always eager to say, "Oh, Shane would have done this." You either Rick, you either Shane. Shane is a survivor. You understand what it is to be in this world, and Rick is a socialist, where you understand that together we can get stronger. See, there's a lot of places like Negan, how Shane would react, and the show did a completely different one with Shane in. The next time we go to Atlanta because these zombies are coming cleaner, and the way they do it is really, really fucking smart. The way they do it is they're they hunt animals, right? It's a lot of zombie, and then you realize, well, when they know the animals, they go farther and farther looking for food. Then they find out the camp. So they found this farm. This farm is the Herschel, the Green farm. So we got Maggie Green, we got Herschel, we got Sean Green, we got Anthony Green, we got his wife. I don't know if we ever had a name for his wife. We have Maggie, and we have I forgot the Beth Green, yeah. We got Otis, we got Patricia. And what is kind of cool is they are the first semblance of civilization. Urshel owns the farm. The farm is providing. The farm is untouched by this. And it's kind of cool because we're seeing this city that is very touched. We're seeing the farm that is not touched. So we realize that the zombies are people, and the less people there is around, the better it is. So they goes in, and the greatest thing about it is, it's so beautiful. It is the first. This is the beginning where the psychological warfare begins. It is the good versus evil. You got Rick, who understand the character and respect the character, and fall and ends up liking a lot Urshel, because Urshel is this role model. See, Rick is a police officer and he believes in laws, and you got Urshel, who's more so he believes in fate, but it's the same thing. So because he believes in fate, they have similar values. And we got I'm so sorry, and the oh my god, and the show, there's a dichotomy or duality between him and Shane. Shane is like a survival. Shane will kill Urshel because this is not their farm. Rick is like, okay, if we need to steal the farm, we'll steal the farm. And it's kind of funny. It is really phenomenal. So as first as they come in, this is going to be a ADHD recap, so it's going to be out of control. There's a really clear sign, a really, really clear sign of Shane saying to Rick, hey, we need to steal that farm. It's ours. And then Rick is like, no, we're gonna work with them. And Rick has this feeling of, we're gonna take the farm if we need to, but he likes Urshel, so he's trying his best not to do it. And then they arrive in Alexandria, and in the first couple of days of Alexandria, like, we need to take this place. So the fact that Shane was an asshole for wanting to take the farm is the fact that Rick was an asshole because it was to take Alexandria. So in the farm, we see a bunch of, in the comic in itself, there's no Shane. There's no Shane. It's a really cool story because the farm is to a lot of people, it's the arcs that are phenomenal. The farm is to a lot of people the calmness, the calm before the storm. It was a calm. They could do whatever they want. There was no problem. There was no issue. They could move around. They could farm. They could survive there. And the next arc is the prison, and the prison was safety. And it was safety. The farm ends up being overrun, and the farm, the problem in the comics. You see, I'm gonna have to say the TV version they did better. The problem and the show is that we're seeing it's always a situation of, hey, you need to leave, or hey, we have this secret. And it's not because Urshel, a lot of people see him as a side of righteousness. I don't. Urshel is complicated. Urshel is one day, hey, you can stay with us, and one of the other day you need to leave. When you look at the comic version, it's pretty uneventful. When you look at the show version, it's where Shane goes crazy. Shane is willing to lie, to kill, to protect himself, and it's always working in the group. But Shane is all constantly looking for enemy, and when there's going to be no enemy, we're going to be the enemy. There's the issue with Shane. The issue with Shane is he doesn't let himself be out of the survival states. And the reason why Rick Grimes at the end is one of the top survivor is because he's able to be that asshole survivor. He's able to be that human, that kind human. Right? So this is it. We're going to go with the prison. I'm not going to do a recap of every single arc, but those are super important. So I'll see you soon for a part 2.